Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about something that I actually talk about a lot in life, but I realized that I didn't talk about this on the video. So obviously I used to watch a lot more queer media back in the time. Obviously we had more representation. Obviously there was a time where we barely had any representation as gay and or trans men. So I really kind of, like everybody, would watch every scrap we'd get. And right now we're in this very weird position where factually we're being fetishized as gay men. And it does have its negative social impact. So while we are fighting for our rights, while there are a lot of conflicts, a lot of different viewpoints, um, I feel like people are silencing gay men voices, but at the same time, we're supposed to be very represented in such cases like Heartstopper, right? Um, I'll flat out say it. I do not enjoy it. I only have bad things to say about it. Now, while I do understand that it's important to tell teenage stuff and teenage gay romances and etc., for obviously the medium of media, I feel like Heartstopper just isn't it. It sells off a very unrealistic world, specifically in the current hostile environment. And while we have had shows in the past which do that and do that very effectively, Heartstopper fails to do that. And this is something that I guess is considered a very unpopular take by criticizing Heartstopper. Um, One of the things that I feel like should be discussed more is I do not enjoy very often when someone who isn't a man doing something about gay men. And that because it's fetishization factually. So the so in this case it's an non-binary person. But when it comes to the fetishization of gay men by someone who isn't a gay man, it comes from a place of sort of using tropes that can be negative, erasing the identity of being gay in a men-men relationship, basically. And I do understand that this is a bit sensitive to talk about, but the offer who is non-binary, they offer their view on the matter, and they wanted to sort of show like this world as one of the things that they get praised for the most is the fact that they focus that queer people tend to stick together. While I do understand that point, I do want to say, and I was talking to a lot of people about it, um, as queer people we tend to gravitate, but it's very, very rarely in a high school setting or, school setting. And specifically in large groups, we tend to sort of try not to stick out as much as possible. So that's why it gets murky. I do understand this sort of intention to show that this is normal, but I feel like right now when we have so many people against us, it's not a very good look, and it is not something we should be striving. We should be showing solutions, how things actually are for gay people. And while I'm sort of shitting on Heartstopper, I do want to say that there have been instances in the past where people sugarcoat these shows, the reality of it, and it works. For example, there used to be an MTV show called Faking It quite back, and this is like a very massive sort of throwback. They were in a very accepting environment, but they still went through their struggles. There was great intersex representation. There was a gay trans man who ended up with a cis gay guy. There was a lot of discussion on the fact that the main character wants to be labelless and she was getting pushed into being into a label. And there was a whole episode about it. But the producers were very open by saying this is the world we should be living in. And that was the whole point of the show. So there's nothing wrong with factually exaggerating something for the purpose. While when it comes to Heartstopper, it's clearly very idolized, and it erases the gay identity, because when you look back at most high school years, I understand that the author is non-binary, asexual, aro, but if you're writing characters which are not asexual, you should be a bit more aware of sexual dynamics in teenage years among gay men. So that's what I found really odd. And then that goes into this whole drama that a lot of gay men are saying, oh, I watched Heartstopper, where's my Charlie, Nick, whoever they prefer. And they start slamming their own community. And while I do understand that people want representation, want more love stories, we need to have a degree of reality in them, and specifically when it comes to huge media representation. So I find that weird. There's also that absolutely unhinged red, white, and royal blue, which is also really weird. And in general, I just don't like this idea that the biggest hits are not done by gay men. And I'm not saying that all good gay novels, gay media is done by gay men. But it should really, gay men voices should factually be heard, specifically when it comes to gay people, gay men rather. But instead we're sort of sugarcoated, and the gay men go into this obsessive cycle of like, why am I not getting this when someone who has no experience being a gay man tries to sell us something else. And the more I see it, it's more gay men who are younger or who have not had a relationship yet or came out of the closet and who are not aware of how it is. So they kind of cling on to this ideal which is nowhere to be found and get upset that they don't get it. And that just becomes a vicious cycle, and specifically right now, it's very difficult for single people to date. I've obviously been with my partner for nearly 14 years, so I do not know the dating scene. But I do feel like I see people sort of being very focused on themselves, their self-worth, which is great and all. But sometimes I look like compilations of like dates gone wrong and everything, and I'm just like, Christ almighty, like datee number 1 and datee number 2 are just awful. I never want to see them again in my life. So it's quite interesting, but I do understand that I come from the privilege that I had grown up with my partner from my teenage years. And we both went through teenage years, exploration, sexuality, gender, whatever, together. So obviously I understand that my point of view is not absolutely far from the usual. And obviously being poly, I kind of tried like playing around, seeing if I wanted more relationships. In reality, I just realized that I'm a slut and I just hook up. So every once in a while, and even then I've been dying off on that idea because I just get tired since everyone is more looking for like relationships or risky sex, which are completely extremes, which I'm not interested in. So it's quite interesting. in general, this division in the gay community and in general in the LGBT community is something that I have been pondering about. And I really, really think that we need to address it. And instead, we're sort of bullying each other. And I do understand that this is kind of critical of me because I am slammering Heartstopper fans. But regardless, I do feel like we need to be kinder to ourselves and understand our reality. And another thing about Heartstopper, because people have this sort of idea of everything's gonna be great, it doesn't prepare people for when rejection can happen from parents, relatives, and etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the topic today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to reach out to me on social media if you want further discussion. Yeah, subscribe. There's coffee as well. And I've seen some people try to reach out to me via YouTube and etc. Like about certain recommendations, where to move or transition, etc. It's better to reach me via socials. So I've added quite a few everywhere, specifically on my about page, etc. So thank you very much if you want to approach me, and I can see what I can do, because the world's a horrible place right now. Anyway, thank you very much.